Okay, here, this is not one of the special cases. We don't see a slope of 0 and an undefined slope or vertical or horizontal or nothing like that. They just tell us write an equation. If they're just telling us to write an equation, the quickest way to do that, the easiest way to do that is with what's called point slope form. Your y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Which means you need two things. You need a point and you need the slope. There's a problem here. We need a slope and a point. What do we have? We don't have the slope, but we do have 2 points. So what does that mean we need to do? Well, if we've only got 2 points and we only need one, and we don't have a slope, well, we need to find the slope. Find the slope m. How do we do this? We did this a couple sections ago, and we learned an equation for if you have 2 points, how to find the slope. If you remember, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So, we're going to start labeling our points here to make our life easier. The first point we have is actually, we're going to start with the second point first, because it says y2, which is the negative 1, 5. So we'll start out with the y2 and x2 first. Well, the y2 is 5, and the x2 is negative 1, minus, now we have to subtract the first point, which was 2, 3. So be careful, again, we start with the y first, which is actually 3. And then the 2 goes on the bottom. So let's go ahead and do the math. So we've got 5 minus 3 on the top, which is 2, over negative 1 minus 2, which is negative 3, which gives us a slope of negative 2/3. That is our slope, though. That is our m. So that's exactly what we need. Now we've got way more information that we need. We've got the slope and we've got 2 points. Now technically I've got to set up to use the point 2, 3 because I listed it as my first point, but it actually doesn't matter which one you use. You can use the 2, 3 as your point or the negative 1, 5. I just like using the 2, 3 because they're both positive. But it technically doesn't matter which point you use when you go to use your point slope form. So, but I'm going to just use the first point, y minus, we're going to use our y from the first point, which is 3, equals, remember next comes your m, which we just found was negative 2/3 times x minus, our x coordinate from our first point was a 2. Now, just like when we just did these a minute ago, we're not done because they never want us to leave it looking like this. In this particular one, they want us to also put this in besides this way. They want a slope-intercept form and standard form. And what you'll notice is it's kind of annoying, but the homework will do this a lot to make sure that you know how to do both. And we'll do this a lot, but they're not going to tell you which one is which. You need to remember that standard form looks like the ax plus by equals c, where the x and y are on the same side and no decimals, that sort of thing. And you have to remember that slope-intercept form means y equals mx plus b. You need to remember which one's which. So, one at a time. No matter which way you're doing this, you do have to get rid of the parentheses. So, no matter what, I have to get rid of the parentheses. So, let's try that first. To get rid of the parentheses, I'm going to distribute the negative 2/3 to everything on the inside. So that will give me y minus 3 equals, well, The negative 2/3 times the x is negative 2/3 x. Be careful. This next piece is trying to take the negative 2/3 times a negative 2, which will give us a positive. Well, the 2 is 2 over 1. When you multiply fractions, remember you multiply the tops. Well, 2 times 2 will get you 4. And then you multiply the bottoms. The 3 times 1 will get us 3. Okay. Now, the question is, do you want to go after the slope form or the slope-intercept form first? It doesn't matter. The first thing that I would do, no matter what, is maybe if you don't like fractions, to avoid mistakes, let's get rid of them. To get rid of the fractions, they've got both of them have that you're dividing by 3. So to get rid of that, we'll multiply each and every piece by 3 on both sides. Let's see how that helps me at least get rid of the fractions. So what that does is it gets me a 3y minus 9 equals, on the other side we multiplied by 3 to get rid of those fractions, so we'll still have a negative 2x and a positive 4, but the fractions should be cleared. Now here's where you're going to really deviate. You've got no fractions, no parentheses. Really the question is, are you going to do standard form first or slope-intercept form first? This is where I kind of take a crossroads, where I can go either way. Well, if I'm doing the standard form first, let's do standard form first. That means to get the x and y on the same side. So what I can do is I can just go ahead and add the 2x to both sides. And that will move the x over. But then I have this problem of, yay, the x and y are in the same side, but I don't want that 9 over there. It should be all on the other side with the other numbers. So, yay, I've got a 2x plus a 3y, but I need to move the 9 over as well. How do I move the 9 over? Well, I'm going to add 9 to both sides. And that will give me equals, well, the 9 and 4 will give me 13. So that's my equation in standard form. Okay, and just like before, notice our x term is positive, so we don't even need to do anything to make this pretty for my math lab. Now let's look at slope-intercept form. Well, if we pick up right where we left off with the 3y minus 9 equals negative 2x and plus 4, I don't need to redo all the work I did. It's going to be the same, so I might as well just pick up here. So remember, slope-intercept form is that y equals mx plus b. So how y equals mx plus b means I need to get y by itself. How do I get y by itself on this one? Well, I'd start by adding 9 to both sides. And let's see, that would give me 3y equals negative 2x plus, then 4 and the 9 would give me 13. And then the last thing we do is get rid of that 3 in front of the y, so we divide everything through by 3. And that would get me a y equals, let's see, well, I divided by 3 on everything on the right, so that would give me a negative 2/3 x. And what else? I also have that I divided the 13 by 3 as well, which would give me a positive 13/3. And your fractions are reduced, and that's really all that matters. So this is our final answer for our equation, but this version is in slope-intercept form. So these two lines are exactly the same. They're just written in different forms. One is standard form and one is slope-intercept form, but they're the exact same line.